Hi Lauren. Instead of writing another letter to you, I thought I'd make a video instead. Um, I know it's been 26 years since high school and 16 years since the reunion. I know we barely knew each other, even back in high school. But I figure you're a smart girl, very smart girl, a good reader of people, one of our best ever from Rocky Point. You must have had a good sense of me back then. We had honors English together, pre-calc, and all those years in band together. I figured you had me figured right back then, I would venture to guess. And I just wanted to appeal to you to say that I haven't changed. I'm the same guy that I was back then. You had me right, and I'm just an incredible fix right now that is hard to explain, hard to prove, and the intersection of a lot of things right now. I don't know why. I wish I did. I often lose people on this point. If I can't answer why, then people won't believe me. But I think that elevation comes into this over and over, though. I've heard it. I've been told to climb a mountain um, by presumably from pretty directly by President Obama or someone for him or with his interests at heart. I think they wanted me to isolate my frequencies. I was supposed to be at the top of the mountain, but I did try that, but they just turned it off when I got to the top and just waited until I got to the bottom. So I guess you'd have to stay up there long enough. So elevation has something to do with it. Um, I think part of it had to do with my house. You never visited my house. I probably had no reason to be on my road even, but I lived on, my house was right on the top of Willow Road, and near David Henschel and the Foleys and the Richardsons and Jason Rand before he moved. But my hill was unique in Rocky Point and Sound Beach. It was one of the steepest roads. It's 300 feet, I think, on an elevation map vertically. So on the diagonal, it's really long and really steep. It's one hell of a ski slope. Um, um, it's the elevation is not that different than the only higher point is Sound Beach Clubhouse, Rocky Point Clubhouse. Sound Beach Clubhouse, I think, is a little bit lower than my house in elevation. I think the water tower is the highest point, the one in Rocky Point on Broadway. So I think that's part of it. So I think with radar, I read a lot about radar in my research. With radar technology, that would make isolating my family very easy. Can tell you that my family was, now that I know what I know now, I look back and say we were directly hit, dare I say, experimented upon for a long time. So maybe this is why so much attention to me. But there's a lot of talk about radar, fMRI, over the horizon radar and scalar waves. These are all land-based waves. They're not coming from satellites. fMRI might be coming from satellite, but it still moves. I think it moves horizontally along the ground. But I am being murdered. I'm making this today because it is a desperate plea for help from you. I am absolutely being bludgeoned to death with voice to skull and other tactics like directed energy and psychotronics, tearing me apart, driving me not just insane, but tearing me apart. And everything they could have done with MK Ultra in the 70s, they're doing it remotely and wirelessly and untraceably now. And someone's just going to keep demonstrating, I think, until somebody stops them. But this guy, whoever he is, has the technical advantage, and it's going to take, I guess, President Trump a while to catch up to him, or I don't know why. Maybe you can ask him. But it's true. It's happening to me. The voice to skull, the directed energy, my body gets rocked. It's vibrating like crazy, and feel impacts, and they harp on private areas, your crotch, and the most, where the sun don't shine, all day long. It's the most inhumane treatment you can imagine, and that's their objective. But I was also, one thing I would share with you, I wrote it in the letter to you, was that I was in Paris for a little vacation. Well, I'm here in school in London. The internet point near one of the major trade stations in Paris. So I started writing letters to President Trump and to the CIA, and maybe even some other agencies like CENTCOM, who I think leads this in the military. And then he started reading off of the computer. And he started reading. It was like Rocky Point, and Wiley, Pakistan. Over and over, very clearly. He was only like 4 chairs away from me. There was no mistake. He was reading, like, my story. Obviously, this internet cafe is employed by some intelligence agency. He immediately looked me up and started reading a dossier on me. So those 3 keywords, Rocky Point, Wiley, and Pakistan, are related to me. I was right. So now, I need to know you to know that this is true. I'm not getting enough help. I don't know what the confusion is or what the delay is. Sometimes, a couple of times there's the cleared the skies with so many jets. I know they don't have infinite jet fuel supply, but there are other tactics. There are lots of solutions. Their own people are fine. There's got to be a solution. I feel like they want to let me get beat to affect some end. I don't know what. To get the information out that it exists, to inform the people, that would be the most noble. But maybe, I don't know why. To get support, to go to war against whoever's doing it, to allow it to happen, it's not unprecedented. But anyway, I wanted to introduce you to, from journalistically, I wanted to introduce you to who the experts are, and I've reached out to them, I've spoken to them, and I consider them, we're on a friendly basis. And so I printed out some pictures here. I don't know if you can see this on camera. This is Dr. Duncan. Dr. Duncan worked for the CIA and the DOD. He invented a lot of this technology. He's written a book. Governor Ventura interviewed him, and I think we should begin and end. I can't believe that the news agencies didn't call this doctor after Governor Ventura did his show. I know Governor Ventura's show is conspiratorial, right, in its own name, but it's true, and I'm one of these people that it's happening to, and they're tearing me apart, and he invented it. He's a really nice guy, though. I've talked to him, but really scary, very cynical. He's like the doctor from War Games, where he's given up on society, humanity, and he basically told me, Ryan, there's no off switch. You better learn to adjust to that reality. Like Dr. Dr. Falcon. This is Barry Trower. Barry Trower is British. Barry Trower spent like 4 decades in the British military. I think he was their version of a Navy SEAL. He used this technology a lot. He knows it well. He's given speeches on it, and he's exactly right. I can attest to it. I've had it used on me. All different frequencies affecting all kinds of emotions. Love, anger, rage, everything, these time pulses. It's true, and it's used a lot. And I think it was used on Mike Wacholder. Nobody wants to talk about him, including me, because what he did was so heinous, but I would think it was used on him. That was around the time that all the shit was hitting the fan around the world. I knew that guy in wrestling, and he was a good guy. He was a good kid. He just hung around with Matt and got into trouble, and then over the years, I guess, he got into drugs, but he was a teacher. I can't believe a teacher would do that. I was a teacher myself. He got hit, and there's President Trump put a picture up on his Facebook page of for me, a message for me after I lost my girlfriend that with his picture in the photo, if you look closely in one of those 360 photos that he's got up on his wall. Okay, so let's move on. But Barry, people don't want to talk. The British are very nervous about Barry, and so are we, because he says that Wi-Fi is cancerous, and I think they're afraid he's going to systemic risk for the economy. But he's a really nice guy. He doesn't have any electronics. He doesn't have email or a cell phone. You have to call him on the phone. You can find his number on his Facebook page. He's really nice. I spoke to him. You just have to mail him something. I tried to mail him something to establish credibility, and it got sent back to me, surprisingly. But I would love for you to talk to him and Dr. Duncan, ideally, but I know it won't happen. So, probably, it would be hard politically to get done. But for the people, for me, for people, for the truth, this is the one guy to talk to, along with Dr. Duncan. These are the two foremost experts. The next guy I have here, this is Dr. Hall. Dr. Hall is just an anesthesiologist from Texas who he met a woman who this was happening to, and he decided to help her. And he's a real doctor, a real saint. This guy should have statues erected in his likeness. And then he began to get targeted himself. He wound up marrying the woman that he helped, but he wrote a book on it. Try not to get lost on what he wrote or the movie or the books, but I'm telling you, he wrote about this technology. I can verify it's true. V2K, directed energy, it's being used on people. We saw it used in Cuba embassy, the U.S. embassy in China. It's true, and he is right. He just needs a better PR person in the way he delivers some of the things that he's done. People dismiss it as conspiracy theory. This is Roger Tolsis. Roger Tolsis is a private investigator. He is the foremost private investigator expert, I believe. He's out in California. He has a home in Utah too. He says he is the one person that the FBI refers their people to, or people that come to them. They say, go see Roger Tolsis. This guy has worked for, he's worked for a lot of big people as far as, what is the name of the guy? I can't remember his name. Howard Hughes. He worked for Howard Hughes back before he died. But he has worked on something like 4,000 cases. He uses technology, it's $250,000 spectrometers to detect it. The most sophisticated private investigator I think you can come across. And he has scientific proof. I would love to see you put him on a panel, interview him and the other, Dr. Duncan and Dr. Trower together. These three alone are incontrovertible. What else can I tell you, though? I've talked to him. He's a really nice guy. He costs $2,500. He's just too expensive for me. I don't have $2,500 to pay for him to do this week-long program on detecting the frequencies I'm being hit with. But I also wanted to appeal to you. I know there must be some obstacles why you can't do it. Fox and Friends is not the platform to be doing this story, but maybe with your coworkers you can share and ask. Try to find. There must be national security blocks, I figure. We did lose air superiority, it feels like, but there are ways around it. And like CNN did a schizophrenia simulator story. Anderson Cooper did that. And if you guys can't do it, if Fox is gonna want to be on the right side. Fox and Friends first. You guys have been putting out since I've been writing. You started saying Fox and Friends first. And I kind of had some hope and said that was a message from you saying friends first, that you want to help. Maybe there's a way you do like peripheral stories, but I really need your help. If at the very least appeal to President Bush, where'd that come from? President Trump, and press hard for me, because it is desperate. They just want to ruin my opportunity here in London. I wanted to go to school here and learn web programming and even launch a website and re-enter my profession of finance here, and where I can live a quality life, being on Europe's doorstep, travel to Paris on the weekend or Rome, and make a good living. But they're destroying it with me. Destroying my warm welcome with the Brits. I think probably getting tired of me real fast, and I think everybody's just like, you should just go home and come back later. That's probably what they're saying. And, well, they ruined my opportunity. Now is the time for me to launch. Now is the time for me to study. I already lost a decade. They've been investigating my life. I noticed people investigating my life since 2006. And they came on vacation with me in St. Croix, and so I'm making a video. Okay. Well, President Trump's solution is Space Force. And that's 2 years away, and I can't wait 2 years. I'm getting murdered now, and I need help. I've lost everything. They want me to go to Hollywood. I have no money, no friends left, barely any family left. My family's all broken up. My parents are getting divorced. My family's falling apart. My whole life is falling apart, and I just need a little bit of space to get it back together, get on my feet. They won't let me off the mat. They smell blood in the water, and they just won't let me get up. I need help. I need your help. Thanks, Lauren, and I'll try to keep you updated soon. Thanks.